Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today was actually a pretty good day for Bitcoin miners for the most part as well. They did pretty good today. Some were up higher than others, but we still had a green day on both, which was nice. Jane Street is in full panic mode right now. It seems like we'll talk about that. I have a great article by somebody on X that I'm going to read over. It's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's well worth the read there. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely found it educational. We'll go over that. We also have Hot 8 reporting. We also have some news maybe on Cypher there, and what else? Some other things as well. We'll get into all that here, but we got to go through this. You guys know the drill. Subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. All right, let's get into it because we got a lot to go over and I don't want to waste too much time. It's already late as it is. All right, so Bitcoin, beautiful candle today on the daily. Obviously, we were up 6.13%. We were up like 7-8% at one point. We got up to a high of $70,020 there exactly. Kind of pulled back from that, which is fine, but at least we're not seeing that sell-off happening at 10 o'clock here in the mornings Eastern time, which we have seen in the past. We'll talk about that, which a lot of people are contributing that to Jane Street. We'll talk about it, though. Very interesting stuff happening there. But that was good. Bitcoin's up, obviously, in the new day as well here. We're up a little bit, almost 1% here right now as it is. So we're sitting at 68,660 roughly, which is great. Some are obviously calling for like 70, 80,000 here in the next couple days to a week. Then we might get up to that point as long as we don't have that selling event happening at 10 o'clock in the morning every day. As far as markets were concerned today, they were all up in the green today also, which was nice. Let's see here. Ethereum was also in the green today nicely. That one was up 11.11%. It's amazing what one day can do in the markets here, but maybe some nefarious parties not acting on things. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Bitfarms was up nicely today, 5%. It was up almost like 10% at one point today. Came back down with the rest of the guys here at the end of the day. It seems like a little profit taking happening there. Bitdeer was up 2%. Kanga was up 1.59. Cypher was actually down 2.98 after having a nice day yesterday. Cleanspark was also up at one point, like 5-6%, almost 7%. Came back down to close about 1% there. CORZ was up 1.18. Hive was up 3.15. Hot 8 was actually down 6.57%. I'm guessing that's based on the earnings release report there. Maybe somebody wasn't happy about that. IREN was down also 3.12%. MAR was up 6.46%. Nibius was up 3.45%. Riot was up 3.52%. Wolf was up 2.05%. And then the Bitcoin holding companies here had a great day also. MicroStrategy going up 8.86%. Galaxy being up almost 6%. Block being up almost 2% there. Coin being up 13.5%. Metaplanet was up also 9%. Exodus almost 9%. Nexon was up 4.3% there. Phoenix was flat, and GameStop was actually up a little bit, 1.89%. Small miners did really good also for the most part. Any being up 10% plus. Argo up 3.5%. DigiPower was up 2.7%. DMG was up 3.5%. Mawson up 4%, and Canon was up 6.6% there. The Bitcoin miner ETFs were in the green except for WGMI. I think that is mainly because we had, well, I think it was because IREN being down, Hot 8 being down quite a bit, and Cypher, right? Those are usually like the three big ones that are in that one. So that's possibly why that one was down. And then the Ethereum holding companies were doing great today. BMNR being up 10% plus, BitDigital being up 7% plus as well, BTCS being up 10 plus, Game being up 12 plus there, and SBET being up almost 13.6% there. Other companies that we track, American Bitcoin was up a little bit, 2.9. Wi-Fi being up. Open was actually down a little bit here. Oracle, Solana was up nicely, 9.28. Bakkt was up nicely as well, 7.72. ASST up huge today, almost 20% there, up 19%. Fermi even was up 17.31%. Nice continuation of what it had yesterday there. Meta was up 2.25. Google was up a little bit. Amazon was up. Microsoft was up. Nvidia was up. Tesla was up. And then EOS and UAI were both down on the day. Bitcoin for the month of February here is now down only 13.21%. We have, what do we have? A couple more days left to go in the month. We'll see if we can, I doubt we're going to squeak out a green month for February. We're probably going to end up in the red here, but it's going to be maybe a lot less than what we're seeing right now at least. We'll see. Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows. We saw inflows of 257 million yesterday. We were seeing right now 209 million without IBIT reporting. I'm guessing we're going to have a nice day there as well for that one. And on to the new stories here that we do have here. Jane Street CEO Rob Graneri taught Sam Bankman-Fried how to trade and hired him straight out of college. One went to prison for fraud. Meanwhile, Jane Street is hit with an insider trading lawsuit. Different paths, same ending potentially for them. I don't wish anybody to go to jail, but some of the shenanigans we're hearing about from Jane Street, it might be suitable for those guys to go spend some time in a nice cell there. Continuing on here on Jane Street, Jane Street has deleted all posts from their X account following Bitcoin BTC and market manipulation claims. Rumors are circulating that multiple companies are now filing lawsuits. They know they messed up. Is that the case? I did check the Jane Street's handle there, their account, and yeah, all the tweets are gone, or all the posts are gone, which is kind of interesting. It's like, why would you do that? It's going to bring even more scrutiny to you after doing that, right? Because then it's like you really do have something to hide potentially. So if they did it for that reason, that was kind of stupid on their part, I think. And then this one here, this was a great read. This is from Justin Betchler. The 10 a.m. drop, how Jane Street broke Bitcoin's price here. We're going to read over it. There's a lot of good stuff in here. So it's going to take us a little while, but I'm going to try to go through it relatively quickly and give you my thoughts on it as well. But here's what it has to say. Bitcoin should be at least 150,000 right now, and everyone knows it. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for the last probably, 4 or 5 months or so, since Bitcoin has been going down. It's like we keep talking about manipulation in the markets, and it's like this doesn't make any sense, right? Everything is trending in the right direction. We don't have the Clarity Act yet, but we had other things being addressed. We had choke point 2.0 being basically blocked. We had also positive signs in the government, right? They're pro-crypto and everything else. We had ETFs. All of those things should have been pushing us higher in price for Bitcoin, but it wasn't. So there was something that was happening behind the scenes that we had no control over it. Somebody else was pulling the strings on it. At least that was my thought on it. But yesterday, a federal lawsuit was filed in Manhattan that explains exactly why it isn't. Let's connect the 3 threads for the first time. A federal insider trading case built on private chat group called Bryce's Secret. And no, this is not from Bryce McNally and Anthony Powers there. It's not from them. A pattern of systemic 10 a.m. sell-off programs that suppressed Bitcoin's price through late 2025 and an undisclosed derivative book that may make the largest Bitcoin ETF position in history a tool for suppressing the price of Bitcoin. All 3 threads lead back to one name, Jane Street Capital here. The intern, it starts with an intern named Bryce Pratt. Pratt worked as an intern at Terraform Labs, the Singapore-based company behind the algorithmic stablecoin Terra USD, and his token Luna. He left Terraform and joined Jane Street as a full-time employee in September of 2021. Right, so this is going back to those days why Terra, Luna, and all that had failed here. So it's kind of linking those things together. Jane Street is also where Sam Bankman-Fried learned to trade before funding FTX and Alameda Research, and many of his future colleagues came from the firm or intersected with its networks. Right, so that's kind of interesting there. I forgot about that, but that is true. That happened. And is it one of those things where retribution, I mean, they obviously saw potentially, or at least Jane Street saw, I'm speculating here, Jane Street possibly saw the rise of FTX and they weren't happy about it. So maybe they're like, well, maybe we can take them out. And well, they did that and plus others. But according to the lawsuit filed by Terraform bankruptcy administrator Todd Snyder, Pratt became the bridge between his former employer and his new one through a chat group that court filings describe as Bryce's Secret. The lawsuit alleges that Jane Street used this channel to obtain material, non-public information about Terraform's internal liquidity moves. The critical moment came on May 7th, 2022, when Terraform withdrew $150 million in Terra USD from Curve 3 Pool, a decentralized trading platform that served as a primary liquidity hub for the stablecoin. Within 10 minutes of that withdrawal, before Terraform informed the public or made any announcement, a wallet linked to Jane Street pulled $85 million in Terra USD from the same pool, which obviously then I think made the cascade effect go worse. The combined selling pressure helped trigger USD's break from its dollar peg. Within days, Luna's algorithmic mint and burn mechanism spiraled out of control, hyperinflating the token supply and destroying the $40 billion in market value. Retail investors suffered catastrophic losses, which was, I mean, we obviously saw that happening, and that obviously caused the Bitcoin crash at that point as well. Jane Street, according to the lawsuit, avoided more than $200 million in potential exposure by unwinding its position at precisely the right moment, mere hours before the Terraform ecosystem collapsed. So that's the interesting part there. The lawsuit describes trades that would have been impossible without inside information to which Jane Street had unique access. Right, so that's kind of what's linking them to that. Jane Street calls the suit desperate and baseless, arguing that the losses suffered by Terra and Luna holders were caused by Terraform's own fraud. There might be some truth to that. We don't know for full fact on that, but Could they have contributed to it with insider knowledge? Yeah, that could have been the case. Do Kwon is now serving a 15-year prison sentence. Sander has also filed a separate $4 billion lawsuit against Jump Trading over alleged manipulation of the same collapse, which suggests a systemic investigation into institutional conduct during the Terra death spiral rather than just an isolated claim against a single firm. Okay, so that's interesting there. The clock. Beginning in late 2024 and accelerating through 2025, Bitcoin's price began doing something that traders noticed but couldn't explain. Right? We've been talking about it, right? I've been talking about it, where it seems like we're being manipulated by big guys here, and this could be part of it. So every trading day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, coinciding with the U.S. stock market open, Bitcoin experienced sudden and sharp sell-offs. The drops were precise, algorithmic, and wildly disproportionate to broader market conditions. They wiped out leverage long positions, triggered cascading liquidations, and then reversed within hours. Right? We talked about it when it was happening. We were seeing what was going on there. It's just like, who the heck is doing it? Jen Happel and Jan Allman, the co-founders of blockchain analytics firm Glassnode, documented these patterns through their shared account, Nengentropic. They tracked the algorithmic precision of the drops across months of trading data, and the pattern was not subtle. Charts from December show Bitcoin falling from 89,000 to 87,700 within minutes of the 10 a.m. open, erasing 171 million in long positions before recovering. This happened every day, day after day. Okay, so there's the table there looking at it. This is, I think, from Bloomberg Terminal, I think. And then Jane Street, as a designated market maker and an authorized participant for multiple Bitcoin ETFs, had both the inventory and the infrastructure to execute coordinated selling at scale during predictable liquidity windows. Selling into thin order books at the open would depress the price, trigger liquidation cascades among leveraged traders, and create buying opportunities at lower levels. The firm could then re-enter at the bottom of the move it had manufactured, right? So basically manipulation, right? Bring it down, get in at the bottom, raise it up a little bit, and you're making money at that point. And rinse and repeat, basically. The same, then something revealing happened. According to Glassnode's co-founders, the daily flash crashes ceased after the Terraform Labs lawsuit filings became public early last year. Bitcoin's price stabilized significantly in subsequent trading sessions. The behavior change is consistent with the firm that suddenly had legal discovery and disposition to consider, right? So if somebody's going after you, it's like, okay, well, maybe the stuff that we're doing is not up and up, and maybe we should cut it off for a while, right? Until the smoke kind of clears a little bit. Or if it doesn't clear, we'll obviously attack it at that point. But the 10 a.m. pattern resumed in Q3 of 2025. By December, it was back within full force, right? Which was, right, in Q3 was basically right around October, September timeframe when we started seeing Bitcoin price going down from its high of 120-some thousand. This is the time that this happened again. Basically, the 10 a.m. dump stopped the moment. Jane Street had lawyers looking over its shoulder and started again when the heat died down, right? The machine. In its Q4 2025 13F filing, Jane Street to disclose holding 20,350,780 shares of IBIT worth approximately 790 million. The firm added 7,105,206 shares during the quarter alone, a 276 million increase. At one point last year, its total IBIT position was valued at nearly 2.5 billion. Simultaneously, the firm boosted its holdings of MicroStrategy stock by 473%, accumulating 951,187 shares worth roughly 121 million, even as BlackRock and Vanguard divested billions in MSTR during that same period. So could they, right? The thing with the 13F filings, they don't have to report short positions, hedging, futures, or anything like that. They just report what they have, basically longs on, and then anything else beyond that, they could be basically at zero net value on it because it could be going long and short with other parts of it, or they could be just going more short side. That's one of the things that I liked about the 13F filings. You don't have to report everything there. On that one, going down here, this looks like bullish accumulation if you don't understand what Jane Street actually is. Jane Street is one of only 4 firms authorized to conduct in-kind creation and redemptions for IBIT. The others are Virtue Americas, JP Morgan Securities, and Merex. Jane Street is also an unauthorized participant for Fidelity and Wisdom Tree's Bitcoin ETFs. This role gives the firm direct access to the mechanisms that connects ETF shares prices to actual Bitcoin. Jane Street can move real Bitcoin into and out of the ETF structure, arbitrage price differences between the fund and the spot market, and maintain inventory positions that dwarf what any normal market participant could accumulate, which is true. I mean, they have the gates to that kingdom there. Basically, Jane Street has direct access to the pipe that connects the Bitcoin ETF to actual Bitcoin, and almost nobody else does. right? So that's how you can manipulate it quite easily. The crypto press reported the 13F as a sign of institutional conviction. The people who actually understood market structure immediately said otherwise, right? So they understood that you're only reporting one side of it. You don't have to report the other side of it as well. So that's the problem there. The Invisible Book. Former hedge fund manager Michael Green called the bullish interpretation of Jane Street's 13F painful. He pointed out that Jane Street IBIT position is almost entirely offset by undisclosed options and futures positions, and that they are certainly not accumulating a position in Bitcoin. That's how market making works, right? So kind of what we talked about, manipulation. Former prop trader Ryan Scott was blunter. Anyone posting this bullish is committing a capital offense. This should be, you'll never guess who was also offering derivative positioning that does not need to be reported. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. But Nick Batia reduced it to incentives. Jane Street owns IBIT so that it can write options, arbitrage, and everything else a quantitative trading shop does to make fast money. And they were making a heck of a lot of money too. But here's what this means for every person who holds Bitcoin or IBIT. A 13F filing disclosure or discloses long equity positions. It does not require disclosing of options, futures, or swaps. When Jane Street reports holding 790 million of IBIT shares, the filing tells you nothing about whether those shares are hedged by puts, offset by short futures, or wrapped in a collar that makes the firm's net Bitcoin exposure zero or even negative. That is huge, right? And we need to have probably laws changed on this. If they're going to be reporting 13Fs, they need to report both sides of it, not just the longs, but they need to report also the puts, the offsets by futures or wrapped collars, whatever it is. They need to report everything. So then we can see how balanced is that position. Is it to the long or is it to the short? We should have access to that information, especially players like this size. It almost makes me think that some of these guys should not have that much capital deployed, or there should be a limit as far as how much you can invest in any of these things, right? So is it maybe 50 million, 100 million? I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but it almost seems like there should be some controls in place there that you cannot have that much control over a market or a coin or anything else, a security, whatever it might be, that you could have that much power to move it one way or the other at your whim. That's just my take on it. Continue on here. The public just sees accumulation. The actual position could be a massive short that looks like a long because of the offsetting half of the trade is invisible under current disclosure rules, right? So that's why I'm saying we need to change those rules potentially. And maybe if there's enough heat on Jane Street here going forward, and maybe some of the elected officials get involved in this as well, maybe we can change some things. Maybe we can make it for the better here, make it more transparent, right? They're all about transparency. They want these public companies to do all these things to make it transparent for investors, because investors are, otherwise dumb if they don't get it. So we need to obviously have all this stuff be put out and be in public view. Continuing on, this is where the question every Bitcoin holder should be asking becomes unavoidable. If the firm holds 780 million in IBIT shares and offsets the position with 780 million in put options or short futures, the net exposure is zero, right? They're not losing one way or the other. If the derivative book exceeds the equity position, the net exposure is negative, meaning Jane Street profits when Bitcoin price falls. And what the heck did we see happening here in the last 3-4 months? Bitcoin price went down 50%, right? They're looking to profit from that. In either scenario, the firm has every incentive to use its privileged position as an authorized participant to suppress the spot price, trigger liquidations, and harvest the spread. And it seems like that's what they have been doing. So what is Jane Street's actual net exposure to Bitcoin? The current disclosure framework does not require them to answer, which is unfortunate and should be fixed. The precedent. So the Jane Street's conduct of Bitcoin markets has not been tested by regulators. Its conduct in other markets has, though. In 2025, the Securities and Exchange Board of India published a 105-page enforcement order against Jane Street entities for manipulating Bank Nifty index options. So they've been already slapped with something like this. So they're pretty known for doing this. SEBI found that the firm used coordinated trading across cash and derivative markets to generate 36,502 CORZ. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But basically, it's approximately 4.3 billion in profits over a 2-year period, with 735 crore extracted in a single trading day. The regulator described the activity as clearly illegal in any country with a functioning financial regulator and issued interim restrictions on the firm's trading. Jane Street's strategies in India index derivatives followed a familiar structure: exploit privilege, speed, and scale to move one market, then harvest profits in the derivative layers sitting on top of it. So the question is whether the same logic applied to Bitcoin, right? 21 million Bitcoin, we know that's a hard cap there. Enforced by the network of sovereign Bitcoin nodes. The cap assumes that price discovery is honest, which is kind of what we as, well, I would say retail was what we assume, right? That the price discovery is honest there, but with everything that's being added on top of it, with ETFs, everything else, it's easy to now, well, play shenanigans on it, unfortunately. But that the market reflects the actual supply and demand, right? And that when institutions hold Bitcoin or Bitcoin adjacent instruments, their positions represent genuine exposure to the asset rather than raw material for derivative strategies invisible to every other participant. In other words, the 21 million cap only works if the market sitting on top of it is honest, which obviously some of the market participants are not. Jane Street is one of the 4 forms with the keys to Bitcoin's ETF infrastructure. It faces a federal lawsuit alleging insider-driven front-running that helped destroy the $40 billion in value. It has been accused of running algorithmic sell programs that suppressed Bitcoin price for months, and it holds the largest disclosed ETF position in Bitcoin while maintaining a derivative book that could make it actual exposure to the opposite of what the filing suggests. So then, the cap is irrelevant when Jane Street can fabricate unlimited synthetic supply through undisclosed derivatives stacked on top of its own ETF inventory. Right? That's not good. And Bitcoin scarcity is real at the protocol level, but the price discovery mechanism sitting above it has been compromised by a firm that treats privileged access as a profit engine, and the current disclosure frameworks let them do it without anyone watching. Right? So this has to be really fixed here. If we're ever going to get past these shenanigans and these market manipulations in the system, we need this part fixed. Every Bitcoin holder deserves to know what is Jane Street's actual net position. Until we know, Jane Street decides the price of Bitcoin, which is unfortunate for all of us. So very enlightening by this post by, it was by Justin Batchelor. So thank you for that. I definitely learned quite a bit on it. Hopefully you guys did it as well. And we need to change some things here for disclosure. Right, it's going to be both ways. It can't be just that you report your long positions, then you don't have to report your positions in the short or hedge positions or futures, whatever it might be. You should, if you have a position one way or the other, it has to be reported. That should be the law, right? But will that get changed? I don't know. We really need some strong leadership there to do that, because a lot of these guys have, boatloads of money that they can throw at this problem to sway people to vote in their favor, which is unfortunate. But in order to protect the little guy, this should be done. In my opinion, at least. Okay. So there's that on that one. Hope you guys like that really quick there. Nvidia also today, really good earnings. We'll see how everything does tomorrow, but Nvidia Q4 2025 earnings came out, 68.1 billion in revenues. That's an increase of 73% year over year, 62.3 billion data center revenue plus 75% year over year, and then 42.9 billion net income plus 94% year over year, 75.2 gross margins. Fantastic there. Q1 was a guidance 79.5 billion versus the guide. Sorry, Q1 right now is guided at 79.5 billion versus the 72.8 billion expectations. So this is great. This should keep going for our mining stocks, your BTC AI mining stocks. Jason Wan says computing demand is growing exponentially. The agentic AI inflection point has arrived, which is great news. So the next couple of years are definitely, I think, going to be exciting in the space. The ones that can get contracts, build out more, get more megawatts, that is going to be pushing these guys up higher, I believe. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that, or point out your own, obviously, viewpoints on it in the comments. We'll get into comments here in a little bit with questions and things like that. But yeah, this is all great news here. And then lastly here, as far as news is concerned, before we get into hot hate here, this is from Mike Alfred. I missed it, so I'll be honest with you guys. One thing most people probably missed on Cypher's earnings call because it was subtle is that the company is talking with major chip manufacturers about a possible hosting deal. That is interesting. Do not be surprised if the customer at Stingray or Reveal is actually Nvidia. Showcase site, watch. Okay, we'll see if this plays out. If that does play out, Mike is the man there because I did miss it. I listened to the conference call, but I missed that. I didn't, it's just one of those things that kind of came in and went out. But that would be huge, obviously, for Cypher there if it does happen for them on that. So we'll see if that happens. So that might be good news for them. All right, next here, let's get into Hut 8 here. They obviously provided their quarterly results here, fiscal year-end results as well. And I probably should make this a little bit larger for you guys if I can, the text here. All right, so here's what we found out. They have 8.5 gigawatts in development pipeline as of December 31st. It says foundation for scalable, repeatable execution in 2026 here. You guys probably read over all this stuff here. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. Commercialized AI infrastructure at scale, right? Signing a 15-year contract with FluidStack, representing about $7 billion in base term contract for them. They refined their portfolio structure and streamlined capital allocation framework through the sale of the 310 megawatt portfolio of 4 natural gas-fired power plants, which was kind of good on their part to get rid of that stuff. That was closed in February 2026, and the launch of public listing of American Bitcoin Corp, a majority-owned Bitcoin accumulation subsidiary. That one I'm still a little on the side of, on the fence, I guess you could say. And the reason I say that is, well, obviously we've seen what the stock has done for a BTC here recently. It's come down like 90% from its peak, which was definitely way overvalued at that point. My little simple mind can't figure out why this was a benefit to put that into a separate entity. They still have a majority share of it, so they're obviously reporting the revenues that's coming in from it, whereas American Bitcoin does not have that luxury there to do that. They're basically another accumulation company. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. Like I said, my little simple mind can't figure out exactly why that makes sense there. But there's got to be something for either reporting reasons or tax purposes, whatever it might be. It's got to make sense for them at that point. But yeah, I just don't get it. Let's see, reduced cost of capital and strengthened financial flexibility, which was good, and designed and deployed next generation data centers architecture at Vega. It's a 205 megawatt tier 1 data center featuring a proprietary rack-based direct-to-chip liquid cooling system that enables ASIC compute deployments at densities of up to 180 kilowatts per rack, which was actually pretty nice. That's actually pretty smart, right? If you can put in Bitcoin mining ASICs in the same rack as GPUs or something like that for AI compute, I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, you can swap them out as you want, right? So that's great. That I liked. That I loved, actually. Going down here, what else do we have here? Actually, going to some comments there. 2025 highlights there. They generated $23.2 million from revenue and power generation. Entered into a definitive share purchase agreement for the 310 megawatt portfolio of natural gas that they sold off there. Announced plans to develop 4 new sites with more than 1.5 gigawatts of total capacity. What else do we have there? We have digital infrastructure generated $9.6 million in full year revenue from colocation services. An additional $57.3 million of colocation revenue, including reimbursements from company shares, all that stuff. Launched a partnership with Anthropic and FluidStack, obviously, as well. Signed a 15-year, $7 billion deal. Talked about that. Energized Vega, a 205 megawatt site. And then we got compute here. Generated $22.3 million in full year revenue from ASICs compute, right? That's why I'm saying it's kind of weird that they have American Bitcoin company as well, which I guess operates the Bitcoin mining side of things. Not even that. I mean, it's like almost like a shell company, I think, because they're not reporting it. They have they don't have the full majority there. I think Hut 8 has like 60-some% of the majority of the shares there, so they're the primary owner. That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see here. Launched and completed the public listing of American Bitcoin. Okay, created a dedicated majority-owned Bitcoin accumulation vehicle that can scale independently and provide Hut 8 stockholders with long-term exposure to potential Bitcoin upside. Okay, I mean, I can see that being the case there. Capital strategy and balance sheet. You guys can read over that stuff. I'm going to get into a development pipeline. Okay, we talked about 8.5 gigawatts, so that's all looking good there. Right, and here is their stage of development. Energy capacity under diligence, energy capacity under exclusivity, energy capacity under development, and then energy capacity under construction, which is kind of where we're at right now. Okay, there's that. Let's take a look at their presentation deck. And it wasn't that much. I mean, I was hoping to see some stuff on there about the deal with FluidStack. That wasn't really in here. At least I couldn't see it. They talked about there, obviously, near 10 gigawatt of energy capacity going forward, right? The pipeline, financial update. That was it. They've obviously done a much better job here this year than they did last year or in 2025. So that was good. And revenue segments by segments. So digital infrastructure, right? Compute, update on capital strategy, and then Q&A. Not much in the presentation deck there. I thought they were going to include more on their progress with FluidStack, the deal about it, but they didn't. They put it all into that press release there. So based on that, here's what we got. So currently, the latest number of shares outstanding is 110 million, 110.8 million roughly. That gives them a market cap as of today with the stock price being at 55.30, 6.1 billion. Okay. Performance over the last 12 weeks has been mixed, right? They're up 26.8% from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 5%. And then 4 weeks, they're down 3.6. And last week, they were down just a little bit, 0.9. Current hash rate, 2.5x, or 2.5x, 25 exahash. Fully operational right now. Bitcoin HODL looks like it's still at 10,278. That's valued roughly at about 700 million as it is. Right? Bitcoin production here quarterly has increased, which was nice to see. They obviously built out towards the end of the year here. That helped them out. That generated a little bit more revenue for them in Q4. I think they're the only ones that had actually more revenue from ASIC mining, Bitcoin mining, that is, compared to anybody else here. I think they're the only ones that actually had a positive here, with the exception of maybe Hive. I think Hive was also up. Excuse me. Excuse me. Bitcoin HODL has come down a little bit from Q2, but looks like it stayed flat here. The latest numbers I can find on that. Hash rate stayed the same, 25 exahash. Actual, what is this? Revenues? Revenues. Yeah, so total revenues includes everything that they do here. An increase to 88 million here for Q4, a slight increase from where they were in Q3. We'll talk about that down below. Depreciation, custom mine one Bitcoin mine's depreciation was at 37,000 right now. So they've come a long way from where they were in Q1 earlier, just in 2025 at 80,000 estimated. They've come all the way down to 37,000, which is really, really good here. Last 4 quarters operating costs, minus depreciation was at 28.21 million there. And gosh, I gotta take a sip of water here. Hold on. Been talking too long. Debt to equity, also looking pretty good there. Lower is better, obviously, but it's still under 1, so that's good. And then current ratio, higher is better. They're still above 1, so that's still looking pretty good. Total current assets, 408 million there, and total current liabilities, 375. So that's looking fine there. We'll get into these numbers here in a second. And then looking at their numbers here. So nice increase in the assets, quarter over quarter, 408 million from 223. So that was fine there. Total non-current assets, let me see, total current assets increased by about 110 million, something like that, to 2.7 billion from 2.6 billion. And then liabilities here actually went up about 65 million from Q3 to Q4. 375 million is the total now. Total liabilities stayed pretty flat overall. Up, what is it, that 30 some odd $1,000? Looks like 30,000 even. So that's not too bad there. Going down here, revenues. Okay. So power generated less revenue here, about roughly half of where they were in Q3, down to 4.9 million from 8.3. And then digital infrastructure also went down from 5 million there to 1.6. But the offset here was obviously on compute. Compute went up about 11 million here for them, from 70 million to 81 million. So that was fine there. Going down here, what else do we have here? Cost of power, for cost of power. It looks like they actually lost money. Cost of revenue for power. So if you look at the 5.38 million there compared to what they generated, so they actually looks like they lost money there. Digital infrastructure also not great margins there, 1.4 million compared to 1.6. But then compute, obviously, which also includes Bitcoin mining there, was really good, 28 compared to 81 million. So that was much better on that side of things. Other things, depreciation and amortization was 39 million. That was going to be increasing. We kind of knew that. Big jump here in selling, general and administrative, went up to 45 million. That's a 20 million increase there. I'm guessing with it being the end of the year, bonuses, stock-based compensation maybe in there as well. That's all gotten added to it. So that was definitely a sizable increase. Don't like seeing that. Gain on disposition here of digital assets. So that was obviously the impact of the FASB rules on Bitcoin HODL that they have. That was about 401 million. That's quite a bit there, but they're not the only ones there. So everybody else is getting hit on that. Bitcoin coming down in price. So they had an operating income loss of 434 million there because of that. That hurt on that, but that's just that's on paper basically. They didn't sell the Bitcoin. They didn't lose really it. It's just Bitcoin price coming back down. Bitcoin price goes back up. They'll recoup that. Let's see here. So total net income before taxes came in at 378. Net income from continuing operations came in at 300 million. And then net income attributable to Hut 8 Corp was 278 million negative at that point. For the quarter, for the year was 226 million. They were down $2.14 EPS for the full year on the shares there, and that's it. Okay, so overall things are still looking pretty good. Obviously, the Bitcoin price coming back down didn't help out their numbers here, but that was kind of expected. Now, as far as going forward here, right? So I pulled in all the numbers here for them as well. Right now, I'm also including the AI compute revenue. I'm not sure exactly when they're going to be getting the revenue from FluidStack. I'm guessing it's going to be sometime later on this year, but going forward, the $7 billion over the 15 years equates to about 466 million roughly a year from them. Add that on top of the current revenue that they're getting, right? Roughly around 353 million for everything. We're looking at somewhere, total estimated annual run rate of about 820 million right now. And with that, we have them between $55 and $83. They're at $55.30. They're pretty close to being kind of fairly valued, maybe on the low end side of things. And if you look at also where the analyst ratings have them and the analyst price targets on them, the high is $85 from the analysts here, and the low is $55. I mean, that's ballpark on where I have them between as well. So that's kind of where I think they would be fairly valued. So if you look at it, they should be somewhere between maybe, $60 and like $70. I think it would be like a fair range for them to be valued at right now. That's if they can obviously get the revenues later on this year from the FluidStack deal, which I don't think they're going to have an issue with, as long as they can build out properly and get it done in time for them. But I think it's happening later on this year. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I believe it is later on this year. Okay, that is it. So this has been updated to the latest data that we do have on these guys here. The numbers were not great, obviously, with a loss for the year, but Bitcoin coming down in price. But the big thing is the AI compute side of things. The data center infrastructure build-outs are happening here for not only Hut 8, for IREN, for Cypher, for TeraWolf, and others as well. That's the driving force here behind it, because as we've seen here with Nvidia, they're generating massive, massive profits. And that's a good thing, because that means that there's a lot of demand for AI, which is true. Just the last couple of days, I used AI quite a bit here. I'm using it more and more now as time progresses. And I had an idea for an app that I just wanted to see if I can create it for the Apple operating system there. And I was able to get that app created within basically like maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, with just speaking to AI. Going here's what I'm looking for. It came out with the code. I put it into Xcode, got an error. I said, here's the error that I got. Came back, oh, oops, I forgot to do this. Put that in there, and then the app actually worked the way I wanted it to. So it is the future going forward. If you don't think that's going to be the case here, you may want to do some more research on this stuff, because we are definitely going to have changes, not only the way people possibly generate revenue going forward. Obviously, companies also are going to have to adapt to it. The ones that are in software companies, things like that. They might need less people to do the software that they can do with much less, which would then make them much more profitable, which if you are investing in assets, publicly traded companies, things like that, you will be rewarded on that, because they're going to be generating a heck of a lot more well, I wouldn't say, but the profit margins are going to be skyrocketing as a result of that. But there's obviously trades off on everything that we see here, right? So if companies need less employees, there's going to be possibly more employment, but the people that are unemployed could possibly do their own businesses that fill a need for something else. So it's one of those things where I don't think it's a zero-sum game for everything. I think there is a possibility where, both companies and present and maybe past employees can benefit from it as well, as long as you're, one, maybe driven, savvy enough, and willing to do things on your own. Potentially, you could definitely still do very well. But yeah, I'm actually loving AI. I think it's great. My dad actually started using AI, which is, my dad's 73. He was talking to AI about a thing that he was working on, and it helped him out. So the adoption curve is going to be happening more and more as people start using this stuff, right? Not only the well-informed, well-educated, but also the people that are, I wouldn't say, I want to bring anybody down, but people that don't have maybe much computer experience or computer literacy and things like that. The AI opens up things that make it a heck of a lot easier for people to go do and go forward. Okay, that's just my take on it. All right, enough rambling on here. Spreadsheet's going to be available obviously to Patreon members. I'll get this updated for you guys tomorrow. I didn't do that tonight or today, just busy with everything else. I'll get that out for you guys tomorrow. Link for that if you want to get access to all this stuff is down in the descriptions. And yeah, we'll call it a day here. We'll get into Q&A here, so what you guys have to say here. Really appreciate all you guys coming in as always, and gals too. Don't want to single the gals out there, because they always give me the thumbs up, and they're some of my biggest fans, so I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get into Q&A here, and we'll call it a day at that point, because we're already going on 40 minutes roughly. All right, let's see what we got going on here. I'm going to scroll up and work my way down. As always, bear with me. I will get through all the questions and comments eventually. All right. let's see what we got here. Neil asks, yeah, how come today we didn't get the 10 a.m. SmackDown? LOL. Jane Street is on their best behavior, it seems like. Let's see, Neil says, I bought into FWDI today. Okay, not sure who that is. Rob says, hi to you as well. Thanks for coming in. So how are these stocks back? Well, I think with the manipulation stopping from Jane Street, if that was really the case, that was pulling everything else down, that should help out the stocks, the ones that are still mining Bitcoin, like obviously Hut 8, IREN still, Cypher to a certain extent, also Cleanspark, Bitfarms, all of these guys are still mining. That should bring in more, well, first we need Bitcoin price to go up, right? So Bitcoin price goes up, that should help those guys out. Plus if they get deals, I think, plus Nvidia reporting good numbers today, I think we're back. I think we are back. All right. Carl says, contrary to John Kurtz, I believe this is the same pattern as 2022. Bounced, traded sideways a while, then final drop. This is my opinion for what it's worth. Okay, you could be right. We don't know. Time will only tell on it, right? I'm hoping that I'm right, but I could be wrong. There's no way of knowing that I'm going to be right going forward here, but just the signs that I'm seeing on the RSI, other metrics for Bitcoin as well as where it's at, I think we may have bottomed out. All right. NGH asks, what is your take on the recent Bitfarms news? The Bitfarms news as far as them getting approval from the city there, or I don't know if it's the city or the county, whatever it is, for their Panther Creek site. I think that's great. All right. How is Jane Street affecting us, the mining space? Well, Bitcoin price coming down. A lot of these guys still generate a lot of their revenue from Bitcoin mining. That does impact the miners somewhat, less so than it has in the past, but it still affects them to a certain extent. All right, Cyrus says, I went from 54% year to date to now 0.5%, and I don't see it getting better for quite a while. Everyone sells the miners and BTC on any. That might change though. I mean, we'll see. But year to date, you're talking about like the past year, right? You're not talking about from the start of January, you were up 54%, because I don't think that was the case. But you're talking about the last year. If you go back to 2025 in February, right? You were up 54% and it's come back down. Drago says, Nibius, that is all. Okay. We're covering Nibius as well. Sadie, thanks so much for the likes there. Michael, at PD, the pinch play working perfect, that has upside to 815 with low P of 4, keeps climbing all day at the highs and is smart not to sell, to hold, enjoy the ride up, making money. Okay, not sure what, I was going to say PG is Procter & Gamble, I think, but PD, I'm not sure what that is. All right. Benny says, did Jane Street sell Bitfarms as well? That I don't know. All right, Ron, what are your thoughts on DeepSeek withholding access to its model from Nvidia and AMD? Do you think it will affect the U.S. market, China? Don't know. I mean, obviously, we're waiting for DeepSeek version 4 point, whatever it is, I think version 4 to come out. Once it does come out, we'll obviously see what it can do. How much better is it over the prior version as well? But I don't think, I mean, it definitely had an impact last year. I don't know if it's going to have an impact this time around. We're seeing much smarter AI agents and everything else coming into the space here as well. And the models are definitely much smarter. I mean, Anthropic, Gemini, Grok as well, OpenAI. I mean, they're all getting so much better than what we have seen from DeepSeek, at least in the past. We'll see where it comes out at, though. Morton, since IBIT is BlackRock, what will BlackRock do about Jane Street as it tarnishes the whole idea of BTC being digital gold for them? Good question there. I mean, obviously BlackRock is much bigger than Jane Street. Yeah. If that is the case, that that Jane Street was manipulating, speculated, right? We don't know that for a fact. Speculated. But if it was that, yeah, I would think they're going to have some enemies in the space here. I would think, at least. Right? I wouldn't be happy. It almost reminds me of that. I don't know if you guys saw that show, Billions, on, I think it was on Showtime. This was a couple of years back. Love that show. That was great. But it almost sounds like some of the shenanigans that were being pulled in that show. I don't know who that show was referencing in the real world, potentially. But I mean, to me, it almost sounds like Jane Street there. All right. Jay, why now BTC go up and IREN down? IREN had a great day yesterday, the last couple of days, maybe even. So a little profit taking there, I think. We see that from time to time. No name channel 1 can't pronounce that stupid name. Sorry, it's not stupid, but it's just I can't pronounce it. Crore is 10 million Indian rupees. Okay. How do you pronounce that as a crore? It's gotta be like crore, I think. Or tror? I'm not sure. Victor, do you know what happened to do you know what happened to Cypher went down yesterday? Did Cypher go down yesterday? I thought it was actually up on the day. Let's go back. Cypher yesterday was up. So it was up the last 2 days on Cypher. And then obviously today we went down a little bit. So it went up nicely in the last 2 days. A little profit taking. Not surprised by that. That I think seems normal, right? They were up 21% in 2 days. I mean, you got to expect a little bit of a pullback. I mean, it got up to high as 26% up in 3 days. And then obviously came back down to now we're up 17%. So a little pullback. I'm okay with it. I think the same thing was with IREN there. IREN was also up quite a bit last 2 days here. Where it started out, it was up 15%, got up to as high as 20%. So a little bit of pullback. Right? If traders are going to be advantageous on this stuff. They're going to do these types of things. But we need it to obviously go up in a longer time frame as well. Okay, I talked about that one. Let's see. Roger, question. AI pumps, Cleanspark lags. Bitcoin pumps, Cleanspark lags. Cleanspark obviously needs to get a deal. I think that's going to be the driving catalyst for that company and others as well, like Bitfarms, to get up higher in valuation. When they do announce something, I expect it to be pretty explosive at that point, like we've seen with other companies as well, where it does start to run quite nicely here. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on right now. Any idea why did IREN and Cypher go down? Okay, kind of talked about that now. They've had nice gains over the last 2 days. A little pullback is fine, a little profit taking. Ryan question, what percentage do you see Bitfarms revenues coming from mining versus AI contracts in the next 2 to 3 years? Percentage of mining, probably 0. They've been pretty adamant about getting out of the Bitcoin mining space and within the next probably 2 to 3 years. So I would expect that to possibly be 0. All right. Let's see. John asks, have you bought any shares of Riot? Do you believe they are undervalued? I have not bought any shares of Riot. I have been kind of critical of them in the past for their operations and things like that. And also their exorbitant stock-based compensation, bonuses, all that stuff. So I have not. As far as where they are right now, whether they're undervalued or overvalued, I think they're kind of properly valued, at least right now. I know that they got a small deal with somebody. Isn't that much, but it's currently like what HPCR right now is at 31 million run rate for them right now based on the deal that they got. So I have in between a $14 and $21. They're at $17 right now. I think they're kind of fairly valued as is. So they're also one of those ones that need to get another bigger deal for somebody else. Then at that point, I could see them going up higher. But right now, I think they're kind of fairly valued, at least in my opinion. Analysts have them at 42 to 13, so they're definitely much higher on the higher end side. On the low side, kind of there with them, but they're being definitely more optimistic on possibly getting more deals for the sites that they do have, which they do have plenty of megawatts as well. Big thing is, can they get deals done, and how soon can they get those deals done? And at that point, the stock could go up higher, right? Once we increase their annual run rate on HPCEI, that would definitely pump the stock up higher here as well. Okay, going back here. Talked about that one. Benny says, Bitfarms up close to 4% overnight. Is something coming? Is it time to load up more on Bitfarms? That, I don't know. They obviously got the approval for the site in Panther Creek, right, in Pennsylvania. Or at least the renderings and everything else got approved for the layout of the site. The thing with Trump talking about, AI data center companies can use power, get their own power, which obviously Bitfarms has their own power in Panther Creek and in Scrubgrass. So maybe that's the reason why it's running as well. Might be. Farouk's comment. What a day makes even an old whale capitulated 63,000 instead of 70,000. Okay, yeah. The old whale that sold was at 1.4 billion or something like that. Fancy. BitDeer seems like a beast in the making and very undervalued. Your thoughts, Seb? I do believe it's undervalued, right? For BitDeer, I think they should be valued higher as it is. Them having some issues with their site in Ohio. I can't remember the town name right now off the top of my head. But their big site, which is like 570 megawatts, they're having a dispute with their neighbor there, and their neighbor is actually suing them. So that's not good. The recent convertible notes and everything else that they've done obviously pull the stock down. The revenue side of things for the quarterly results also didn't help out. So it was just like one thing after another that drove the stock down here. And if we look at them as far as where I think they should be and where they are right now, yeah, I would say that they're undervalued, but can they get the love from investors here, with especially them being Singapore based? We've seen other companies that are not US based not do as well. So maybe that might be the reason that holds them down, but I haven't been somewhere between $20 and like $30 if they, execute well. And then if they get some kind of deals for hyperscalers, but they have a lot of potential that, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? I can't change that right now. They got to execute though. And they got to get that lawsuit settled or figured out with the company that's next door to them in Ohio. Okay. All right, let's go back here. All right, Ron, do you think Bitcoin miners could issue high yield credit products backed by Bitcoin like STRC, MicroStrategy, or stick to convertibles? Which one do you think would be more attractive to investors? Oh gosh, I don't know. That is way beyond my expertise. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody smarter than me could probably give you a better answer than I can. Yeah, sorry. See, KI says, can't stop buying BitDeer at these prices. I mean, yeah, these prices do look very, very attractive. Victor, question, Jane Street also has a stake in Cypher. Will the price go up easy from now? So if they have a stake in Cypher, what's the other side of it? Is it a short? Is it, options, whatever it is? What's the opposite side of that? So if they're basically net on it, I don't know. But if they are in trouble, maybe they're going to start unwinding some of those things. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, definitely would be nice. Sar says, I was up 54% in 2026 before the sell-off. I hold a ton of IREN and it peaked around 6%. Okay. So you were up in 20. I mean, but weren't these things coming down here in price? How could you be? I mean, we've only been in 2026 here the last basically 2 months. I've been down in 2026. Maybe you were doing also options or something like that. I'm not sure. Ron, question, can you please explain what affects Bitcoin difficulty and how it gets adjusted, goes up or down? Okay, so Bitcoin difficulty gets adjusted based on the time it takes to do a block. Usually it's supposed to be right around 10 minutes, right? So if the time to create a block or to find a block, whatever you want to call it, that gets adjusted. So if it takes more than 10 minutes, the difficulty will decrease. If it's less than 10 minutes, the difficulty will increase, but it's every 2 weeks, right? That gets adjusted. So it's the average basically over the last 2 weeks. How long does it take to create a block or to find a block or to find, what's it called? I'm drawing a blank right now. When you're mining it, you get you know what I mean, I think. But that's what it's based on, right? The more hash rate you have in the network, you're more than likely going to get an increase in difficulty. And as the hash rate falls because of either price of Bitcoin coming down here or other impacts on it, because some country tells you that you can't do it anymore, difficulty at that point will also drop, which then obviously makes it more profitable for the miners on that. I know it's probably not the best explanation, but it's kind of a quick refresher, I guess. All right, KA, IREN tanked on convertible debt, etc. to 7 before it ran up to AI. Hoping BitDeer is mirroring and will soon announce a deal. Did you catch McNally Money interview with BitDeer today? I did not, no. I'll try to see that one maybe tomorrow. See, KI says, Billions was a good show till Mike Prince left. Yeah, I mean, I watched all this episodes. It was a great show. It was definitely interesting. It definitely gave a lot of insight as far as what's going on in the industry there. Neil says, I bet these data centers will be used for robots controlling remotely on blockchain. Okay. Well, robots will probably use blockchain to interact or transact between other robots and AI and things like that. Victor, once Cypher gets revenue in August, the stock should outperform from negative to positive revenue. Yeah, I think that will help. If they get another deal or so, that would also help there. Ron says, I think you missed my question, but I'll ask again. What indicators are you watching for to confirm a reversal bullish momentum? Well, I think just the current from where we are right now, right? As far as Bitcoin is concerned, we saw that the RSI got really, really low since levels we haven't seen before. So that was usually an indicator that we have bottomed out. So as long as we stay above, I believe, 60,000 here, which was that low, I think we're going to be good here. Now, if we start falling below that, then I'm going to say, okay, things are still in the dumps more or less. And the other thing I'm going to be looking at is, do we have those 10 or 10 a.m. dumps on Bitcoin? Right, if those kind of go away here, which might have been caused by Jane Street, that would be a good sign because then it makes the market actually work a little bit better, more like it should, right? The price discovery is going to be there, right? Without somebody having a noose to Bitcoin every morning going, you're not going up here, you're going to be coming down, and we're going to make money on the way up and on the way down as well. So those are the types of things I'm looking for, and just a continuation of an uptrend. It doesn't have to mean that it go parabolic here right now. I'd like to maybe see it go sideways a little bit, go up, come back down a little bit, and go back up. But that's kind of what I would be looking for. Michael, which Bitcoin ETFs are good to buy that are safe? Obviously, IBIT is the biggest one there. I'm not sure what it costs as far as fees and things like that. But if you're going to get into an ETF, I would get in with the big guys. So BlackRock, Grayscale, I think, is another one there. Let me see. We have the list of the top ones here. Which ones do we have here? You got IBIT from BlackRock, Fidelity, which is FBTC, Bitwise also, ARK. I think all of those guys. Just look at the fees. That here, I can show you the fees right now. Duh. Okay, here we go. So all of these guys have pretty low fees, 0.25% for IBIT, FBTC. Bitwise is 0.2. ARK is 0.21, Invesco BTCO is 0.25, Franklin Templeton EZBC is 0.19, Valkyrie is BUR, kind of like that, 0.25, VanEck is 0.2, Wisdom Tree is 0.25, Grayscale is actually maybe the best one there, maybe? No, that's 1.5%. That's the GBTC, that's the trust there, and then Grayscale, maybe 1.5% there. And those you don't have to see a lot of action in those. The ones you do see a lot of action are the bigger guys here, like IBIT, Fidelity, and Bitwise. Maybe stick to those because we don't see a lot of transactions from these other guys here throughout the time being. But usually BlackRock and Fidelity have some kind of transactions happening for them. Okay. Now financial advice. All right. Roger, question. It looks like AI is looking frothy, and now the rotation might turn back to BTC, which will help treasury companies. Might. I don't know if AI is looking frothy, though. That's just my opinion there. Mr. X here. What's a better buy now, Hive or Bitfarms? I still think because Bitfarms is going to be domiciled in the United States, here they have operations in the United States, I think that might be the better one. But Hive is also doing very, very well here. They don't have any operations in the United States, but they are getting obviously into AI in Canada and in Paraguay. Is it Paraguay or Paraguay? I think it's Paraguay. Going off my memory here. But I think, I like both companies, but I think Bitfarms might be the better option here. Maybe. Not financial advice. Star says, no options miners ran hard in January. They fell hard. Did they? Let me see here. IREN here. See if we look at January. They did actually run pretty nice in January. You're right. Yeah, I'm looking at the chart right now. They did run. IREN went from basically being at $38 up to $63, and then came back down before the end of the month down to 53. So you're right. They did run kind of nice. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking that they were down because I'm down in my portfolio right now as it is for the year. But at least you're still up a little bit, right? Positive side to things, and I think things will be better going forward. All right. Okay, yeah. Bitdeer basically have hyperscaler a shoulder tapping them for power now. They are going to monetize 1 gigawatt over the next couple of years. Yeah, I think that's going to be a possibility there. They have sites obviously all over the world, which might be a benefit to them on that side of things. But again, them being Singapore based, I don't know if they'll garner the love of Wall Street basically, right? Some maybe, but not as maybe like some of the other guys here that are based in the United States and have operations more so in the United States as well. But say Bitdeer does have a lot of operations in the United States, so not to take that away from them. Let's see. Benny says Cypher will get a deal real soon, within a month. Same with IREN. Bitfarms probably end of the year. I can agree with you there. I would think that'd be the way to go. Black Ice DK. Do you see IREN at 80 at the end of the March? No. No, I don't think so. Unless they come out with another deal with somebody else, that could possibly pump them up. But I would rather have them go up slowly than have these huge runs up, and then we have these huge runs down as well. But yeah, I'd be happy if it does, but I don't think so. All right, Mr. X, any chance Mara can get to 52-week high if BTC goes back over 100,000? Well, they just bought that majority stake in Axion, I think they call it, or Axion. That's obviously a data center builder out in Europe. That might be good for them. We need to see at least a quarter or two of results from that thing, see how they're operating as far as what their growth is and things like that. And with Bitcoin getting back up to 100,000, could they get back up to? I don't think so. We'll see what their results are for the quarterly results. I think they're publishing those out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what that looks like and how their operations perform. But yeah, it might be hard. Roger, who gets a deal first, Cleanspark or Bitfarms? We know that Cleanspark can possibly build, they both have to build out, so it doesn't really matter, I think. But Cleanspark has a 200 megawatt site in in Atlanta, Georgia, that they could build out relatively quickly, probably within a year. Bitfarms is looking at like maybe 2027 to build out the sites in Pennsylvania. So they might be a little bit further out. Based on that, I would say maybe Cleanspark has a better edge on that, but you never know. All right. Ron says, thanks for the insights. As always, Seb, you're very welcome. Thank you so much. Let's see. Black asks, why was the market green and IREN red today? They had 2 good days of gains. It was up like 17% at one point, but today even getting up to like 20 some percent. So a little pullback on that was definitely in line. I think that's fine. Victor, thanks for the answers. You're very welcome, and thank you everyone for coming in here. We're going on exactly 1 hour as it is. So we actually got it done a lot faster than I thought. I thought that story on Jane Street was going to take it a lot longer. It didn't, which was great, but nonetheless, I thought that was really, really good there. So again, thank you all. We got one more coming in from Roger here. Let's see here. Question, if you had 50 or 5,000 to buy a miner, which one would you buy? Oh, that's always a tough question you guys ask. Right? Not financial advice. This is just what I would do here. I did this. Well, I didn't buy one. Going back like 3 weeks ago, I bought some more Bitfarms, Cypher, and Cleanspark shares. My IREN shares are up so much higher than everything else. So I wanted to kind of get in more of those guys because I think those guys can still run a little bit more. I thought there was maybe a little bit more upside to those. That's kind of where I would look at, is the ones that are doing well. I mean, TeraWolf is getting to its 52-week highs here. That one, that one's doing really, really good also. I mean, a lot of these guys are doing great. So it's almost like monkeys picking, throwing those darts at the chart or the chart, and they have the different stock names. I mean, you could pick any things and they could do very well. It's hard to say right now. Okay. Sadie, you're very welcome as always. Thank you so much, and thank you for the thumbs up there. Greatly appreciate you all, and thank you for coming in. I really do appreciate you guys. I know it's late, so I really, really appreciate you guys coming in, and ladies as well. But love you all. I hope you guys have a great Thursday tomorrow. We'll cover obviously Mara, I think, is tomorrow reporting, and whoever else. It's going to be a pretty busy week. We got some reporting, I think, tomorrow, Friday, and then next week as well happening. So it's going to be pretty busy. But we'll try to get through it all. Hopefully it's much better going forward with maybe, fingers crossed, Jane Street out of the picture here, but we'll see. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.